Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we are going to talk about technology, drones, and young people. My guests are Samuel Billing and Richard Barber. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start by asking Samuel to talk about what this program is and why you founded it.
Okay, the Youth Aeronautics Educational Foundation is a 501c nonprofit organization that was established to give youth an opportunity to get involved in aviation. But as the program grew, we added more programs to it. The mission of our organization is to establish programs in aeronautics for at-risk, underserved, and other youth. As a result of our program, we have several kids that came through and got their private pilot license. Some are involved in flying for the U.S. Air Force. There are others that are, a couple are flying F-16 jets.
Wow.
And all these youth started with us when they were like 14 years of age. We have expanded our program now to doing drones. And I reached out to Mike Harper because we wanted to do a drone program here in Hampton. The drone program is for kids that are between the ages of 13 and 18. We don't want to just teach them how to fly these drones. We want to get them involved with the design, the aeronautics of it, so that they can, when they come out of high school, they would have some kind of plan or direction where they want to go, hopefully into the fields of aeronautics. Because so many kids, when they think of aviation, all they think about is flying. But there's designing, engineering, and maintenance. So what this program is all about is trying to get the kids, to expose them to aviation, aeronautic careers. So I reached out to Richard from the Drone Club to kind of come with our team to volunteer. 95% of the ones that in the Youth Aeronautics Educational Foundation are volunteers. No one gets paid.
Yeah.
We've been doing this now for 14 years.
That is wonderful. And you've mostly been doing it up sort of in the Williamsburg area, right?
We started in Williamsburg, then we expanded to West Point, where we've been 5 years. Then we had a class at the Newport News Airport until COVID came in. So now with Mike Hopper, I met him, and we said, what a wonderful idea to try to bring an aeronautical program into the Hampton area.
It's wonderful. Now, Richard, how did you get involved? What is your background?
My background before I retired was in computers and engineering, and so I've always been interested in hobbies that use technology. But I met Sam through the drone club. I have a Tidewater drone club that I'm part of, and I enjoy being with other people talking about drones. But I was interested in doing some volunteer work where I might teach some young people about drones. I thought maybe I'd give a presentation or volunteer for that kind of thing. But this program with Samuel is much better because this way it really got my juices going, because I get a chance to meet with some kids who hopefully will be energetic towards learning, and I can give them the same knowledge that I've picked up over the past 7 years or so about drones and how to build them and how to configure them and fly them.
So kids are going to learn not just how to fly drones, but how to build them. I mean, these are some that have been built, right?
That's right.
Let's pick those up and talk about them a little bit.
So some kids, when they hear about drones, they might think about video drones, which are like this, and you buy them off the shelf, and they're proprietary. They're very nice, and you can fly them, and they're cool to use. But they are very specific in their purpose, and they hover. So you fly it, and you just hover, you move your sticks around. So we could teach them that.
And you watch them.
And you watch them, and
Yeah.
it takes great video. This is a high-end camera on here. But that wouldn't take long, because it's not that hard to fly, because you hover, you move left, move right. And if you crash it, you go to the manufacturer and you get it fixed. So,
That still sounds hard to me. You have to understand. That's still complicated.
Well,
but they're used to using like the joysticks
That's
and all
right,
that.
that's
They're
right. So-
better hand-eye coordination than I
that's
have.
right. So it's I think the kids today, the teenagers, will have no problem with some of the things I had problem with because I wasn't a gamer or anything, so I was very clumsy. But you look at a drone like this, and it's got electronics parts in it, and there are circuit boards, and they each have a purpose. And I learned about them by hook or crook and friends and just talking to people. And luckily, these drone clubs, you get people that are also interested and they want to share. So I learned to build some of these. But what's nice about these is if you break off an arm or a motor, they're replaceable parts available all over the internet. So this is not something you have to send off.
And I imagine that happens, right?
Oh, yeah.
People
right.
have a crash now and then.
That's right. So with these, they have collision avoidance, and you're real careful because they're very expensive.
Right.
With these, you take challenges and do tricks if you want. Depends on what you're looking for. I fly them for videos, so I'm still focused on that because I like photography and stuff. So this is a 4K camera, and then there's another camera here.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the way that works is when you're flying, you fly with these goggles on, and you're seeing exactly what the drone sees. So that means that you can
That is so cool.
flip over a building, fly through a house, you can go between trees. So I brought some videos to provide you all in case you wanted to show any of those, but it shows me chasing a vehicle out in my horse pasture. It's one of these work vehicles. And then I show some videos of just going around some dogs and horses and deer and going through a tent. And it just shows that what you can do with these is way beyond this other one because
Right.
you're seeing what the drone's seeing, so you can go around
maneuver
the
more
corner.
closely, right?
Yes.
And if you lose eye contact with it, you're still seeing where the drone is.
That's right. And so people who get interested in this hobby end up buying lots of different kinds. And so I fly this one a lot when I'm doing something around people because it's preferable not to cut them up. So,
Are these hard? Would they?
yes,
Yeah, they would.
They
That
would,
would hurt.
they would cut you. And so you use drones like this, and you can put in a high-end camera in it. You saw that one had a high-end camera.
Oh my God.
This is a miniaturized action camera that just pops in like that. And so the idea is you fly this around horses or people in a house, and you've got some protection. It doesn't fly quite as elegantly as that one.
Because they would block some of the, yeah,
It's
they would
not
make
as
it trickier.
aerodynamically sound.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, only with not those words.
Yeah. And what Sam was saying is about the physics and the aerodynamics. A plane, we're used to teaching kids about how a plane has lift and thrust and yaw and what the ailerons do and what the elevators do and what the rudder does. But with a drone, the physics are completely different. There is no rudder or flaps or of any type. So to go forward, you push these motors faster and you lean forward and you fly off that way, or you can lean them this way. The drone doesn't feel any difference between flying like this or flying like this because it's 4 equal prods. So what the kids are learning that takes it above and beyond the drone that just hovers is you have to fly with one of these remote controls with those goggles on, and these joysticks, you're going through all those motions. Pitch forward, pitch backwards, roll left or right, do a yaw, which is like a rudder turn, and then you increase throttle to go faster. The other thing you would see in the videos I provided is that I don't really show a video from the other camera drone from DJI, but with these drones also they're faster, so you can. Some people use them for racing. I use it for freestyle and for videos, but when you punch it, these are powerful. So they only fly 5 or 7 minutes, whereas this drone flies for 30 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because it just is made with big propellers and it hovers, but it isn't going to go fast.
So what happens when you introduce young people into this world who may not have thought that STEM is a career that I can get involved in?
Well, young kids growing up with messing with those little gadgets. So when we introduce them to drones, they're pretty much in their own element, far as
How to work.
Right, and they enjoy it. And I find out that they learn quicker by doing hands-on, and that's another component with the drones. It gets them involved in what they're kind of used to doing. But there's another aspect to the drones too that's very important, is that in order to fly a drone, you have to be 107 FAA certified, and you can take that test when you're at age 16.
Okay.
So we have youth that are coming into our program that are age 12 and 13, and they're learning these skills, and they're also learning the things that what's necessary to make them safe drone pilots, along with the youth that are age 16. I think this is what makes our program so unique, is because the younger students are learning along with the bigger students, and the older students are somewhat mentoring the younger ones. And a lot of your ideas really come from, a lot of good ideas come from youth that are in their 12s and 13 years of age. So, and with this new technology, where they can put on the goggles and actually see what they're doing, it become real to them. It's like a hands-on, but they're experiencing a real life experience from it.
And it makes, so you hook them with the cool, like, goggles, virtual flying, all the fancy, flashy, fun stuff, and then you kind of, for them to be able to do it and know how it works, you kind of work into the physics and the engineering of flight.
You said it. That's the key. Because when I started the aviation program, we use aviation as a tool to hook the kids. Here in Aeronautics, we're using the drones as a tool to hook the kids and get them interested in the STEM part of it, because they want to know why, how this happened. And as mentors to them, our job through this program is to try to explain the physics and the math that's involved with it also.
So do you have like a specific program? Do you start a club? Because I understand, I know if Mike Hip Hop Harper is involved, you're going to be in the greater Aberdeen area. I can,
yes.
I can tell that right now.
Yes. We do have a program. We have a program that goes for from February until to May. They will meet every other twice a month, and what they will learn is a curriculum where they learn weather, they'll learn how to solder, like Mr. Barber mentioned. The components on some of these drones have parts where there's soldering involved. You can't, where's the
It's hard to see it on that one.
Yeah, it's on that one.
Yeah, so to learn to repair, they need to learn to solder. But I think that part of what Sam and I have talked about is let's be flexible, because some people will be in the program because they want to learn to fly and maybe able to get their FAA Part 107 certification, so that when they are older, maybe they can go get a job at Drone Up or someplace, right? Others might be interested in getting this as a hobby and building them, and they want to learn how to solder and what that circuit board does and what this circuit board does. So if we are flexible, then we can have some teenagers that are learning more about building, and others might be learning more about flying, and others might be very focused on getting their certification, and some might be all three. So it's we'll impart as much knowledge as we can upon them, and each of these sessions will be 3 hours long. So I'll try to do some lecture, and then when they start to fall asleep, we'll go do some hands-on. We'll do some hands-on each time, right? So, hour of lecture, 2 hours of flying, that kind of mixture. And
So it's really like there's robotics clubs and robotics classes and teams in some of the Hampton schools, and it's basically robotics in the air. I mean, really,
Yes.
it just adds that understanding of flight and weather and wind and all that stuff into it,
Yes.
which
Right.
you don't have when you're
And-
rolling on the ground.
And the FAA pushes these certifications for safety also. So you
Right,
have to learn
right.
about what you do to avoid a real aircraft and hurting people and stuff like that. So it's a great program.
Yeah, there will be in the future so many jobs in, I know the official people like to call it unmanned vehicles, but really that is, I mean, Drone Up is going to work with deliveries of packages. I mean, Longbow is working with other kinds of drones. There's a weather company that's gotten a big grant in Hampton that's partnering with HU that's really studying, because these things are going to be more affected by wind or weather or changes than, you know, your giant jet up high
right.
in the air.
Yes.
And part of what we want to explain to them is the careers that are possible, because you named a few of them, but there's also agricultural, you know, you can fly over fields and do thermal imaging and help farmers get feedback. You can do inspections of things like bridges and communication towers. And
City uses them to fly ditches to determine when we need to go and clean the ditches and route them out so that there's less flooding.
right. So when Drone Up recruits their pilots, which a lot of them are just part-time, but they'll send out notices, and it depends on your skills, but some of the flights are for thermal imaging, some are for inspections, some are for
Wow.
just simply documenting a construction site. You know, so it ranges all over the place.
Yeah, it's going to change all kinds of things. I mean, it's already changed real estate when they fly and you see the gorgeous
Yes.
surrounds of some of these houses and how close you are to the water, which you never used to know. But it's just the kind of everything. Everything is going to change. And it is much better for our environment to have drones flying around delivering things than to have trucks and exhaust and diesel fumes and wear and tear on the roads. I mean, this is also part of becoming more green, really.
Yeah.
Right? It's the future.
Okay, I'm excited, but I'm not 14 to 18, so and I'm probably not as good as the technology as they are. So thank you so much for coming. Is there anything you need to add before we close?
No, I just would like to see students become aware of this program that we offer here in Hampton, and help to see if we can impact their lives.
I hope you can. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. And thank you both for volunteering all your time with our youth. That is a very special thing to do.
Another thing that we should mention is part of what has accelerated our ability to get this going in Hampton is the group that Mike Harper has
Yes.
introduced us to, the
Greater Aberdeen Community Coalition.
so
Yeah.
that's been helpful, because having those connections is key for making something like this happen, because we just
And
don't
reaching
know
the
people.
kids who need it the most.
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing. So many African Americans and girls think that STEM is not for them and don't understand, you know, your parents didn't do it. You don't see a lot of role models necessarily, and and the technology and all the computer stuff too are not as, you know, there aren't as many minorities and women in those careers. So I think it's really good to give people those opportunities, because some of those are going to be very well-paying jobs.
Yes, they'll be used to be in big demand. The
And
ones that master these skills.
And the industry is going to grow so quickly that they will need your kids as soon as they're ready. So
Yes.
thank you for making them ready for jobs and keeping them busy and giving them a great hobby, even if they don't go into it.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching. I know some of this technology is a little above my head, and drones are always above my head. So, you know, it's fun, it's good, and it is a serious career, not necessarily just a hobby. Thanks for watching.